Welcome back to my second Windows command line tutorial. This time I'm going to be going over the very useful Robocopy command. And then I'm going to demonstrate how you can automate some of these commands by creating batch files. Robocopy is a very useful command that will quickly copy the contents of one folder to another folder while maintaining the dates of the original files. Robocopy comes pre-installed on all newer versions of Windows, which is great if you're in a situation where installing new software just isn't feasible. So the minimum that you need to be able to run the Robocopy command is to include the command itself, which is Robocopy, and then you need to include the source directory of where you're copying from and the destination directory of where you're copying to. So let's go ahead and try this out. So I have this folder here, Forms. Let's say that this is what I want to copy. And I want to copy it over onto this thumb drive that I have here. So now that I've taught my Robocopy command, the next thing that I need to do is put in my source directory. So here I'm putting in the full path to the directory that I'm copying over. Next I need to do my destination directory. So in this case I'm sending it to my E drive, which is the thumb drive, and I want to put it in a folder called Forms to mimic the folder that it originated from. You can change it to be whatever it is that you need. So that's all you need for the very basic Robocopy command. We just hit enter, and now we see that a Forms folder has popped up on my E drive, and it contains all the information that was in the source directory. Another nice thing about Robocopy is that it does include some of the summary information about what was copied over. It will tell you if there were any failures so that you can always go back and review anything that didn't copy over. Now, of course, Robocopy is much more scalable than your typical copy and paste job. In fact, if you open up the help file, which you can do by typing Robocopy / and then question mark, you will see a bunch of different options of what you can add to the Robocopy command to change it to suit your situation. So we don't have time to go through all of these different switches and the logging options, but if you are going to be using Robocopy, I would definitely suggest that you get familiar with the different switches that are in here so that you can use them as needed. So let's say that we're using Robocopy and we want to move around a large number of directories. Well, it would kind of suck to just sit there and wait for one copy job to finish so that you can start another copy job. Well, luckily there's a really easy way to automate these commands so that as one finishes, the next one will automatically begin. We do that by creating a batch file. So I'm going to create a batch file for you now. First I'm going to delete this Forms because we're going to copy it in again with our batch file. Okay, so to start off with, since I use Robocopy fairly regularly for different reasons, I like to have a template, and this template includes all of the typical switches and logging options that I use so that I don't have to always type in everything each time. Basically, the only things you have to change when you have this template, I need to change my source directory, my destination directory, and then I also like to use the log plus option, and so because of that I need to put in the location of the log file. Now you can have as many or as few of these in here. I just happen to have 3 now. We're going to be running 2, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that third line, but you can have any number of different commands within this. So to start off with, let's go ahead and do our first source directory. We're going to copy over our Forms folder again. So I'm going to copy that in here. And my destination is going to be the E drive, and we're going to call the folder Forms. For the log file, in this case, we're going to go ahead and put the log file on the root of the E drive, and we're going to call it forms.log. Now for the other directory that we're going to be doing, I'm going to do my cartoons directory. So same thing here. I'm going to be putting in my source directory. I'm going to be putting in my destination directory. I'm going to call it the same thing again so I can easily notify that. And you can call it whatever you want, whatever makes most sense to you. Okay, so now that we have all the information filled out, we simply need to save this as. Right now it's in text file format, but we're going to save it with the extension of CMD. Now saving it with that CMD extension is going to make it so that we can simply double click on the file and it will run within the Windows command line window. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So here we have one popping up. As you can see, we have our folders that popped up. We also have the log files that are here, and the Windows, the command line window is going to sit here and kind of scroll through as it copies each new file, so you can kind of be aware of what's going on. And then because we logged it, we'll have a record of what kind of information was copied over. So that's it for creating Robocopy batch files. So hopefully this was useful to someone out there. If you have any questions or any feedback, please let me know. Bye.